Hello friends and welcome back to the Modern Stacker, and in today's video I want to try and provide a little more context as to what's going on in the silver spot price market and hopefully shed a little bit of light onto some of these fluctuations that we've been seeing in the market. And so before we get started, please hit the like button before we get going, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you like this kind of content, stick around. If you watch this video, if you like it, subscribe. It's good stuff. Good for you, good for me. Let's get into this. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, a lot of people have been talking about it. It's like, oh, price goes up. Oh, wow, price goes down. Shock, silver. Is silver bad? Is silver, a terrible, metal? You're going to hear all these reactionary videos. And if you haven't noticed, I don't buy into that kind of crap. I have maybe a little bit more of a holistic perspective on what silver is and what gold is, or what they are, and that is that they are originally sound money, God's money, precious. Yes, silver has an industrial use, and I think it's worth noting that as we're kind of looking at these charts, and as silver spot price in particular has a long history of manipulation. I mean, if we go back to all time and get out of this view and go to look, see, you can see manipulation down, and it's like there's a ton of manipulation in silver. There's been manipulation in the gold markets as well, so that's not exempt. But if you look at the gold to silver ratio, which is, we've talked about this on this channel before, the gold to silver ratio is widening, and the reason for the widening isn't exactly clear, except for there's a growing amount of evidence to suggest that the silver market is being suppressed for whatever reason. The reason is not exactly well known. You have some people talking about the fact that maybe there's more metal production than we initially thought, and maybe that's what's suppressing it. Some people talking about it's the government, they're doing it. And some people talking about, well, the dollar's really strong. When the dollar's strong, silver goes down. But wouldn't that make the sense? Wouldn't that be the same reason for gold? Instead of silver doing this, they don't align, right? So there's something off, and I'm not saying I have an answer to that, but I'm just calling attention to it. But with regards to spot prices, we can still use charts to take a look at things and try and get a little bit better understanding of what's going on. And I think one of the things that you should look at when you're looking at the charts here is that machines are doing most of this trading here. This isn't people like jumping in, jumping out. I mean, they are to some extent, I'm sure, but generally speaking, these are machine moves. And that's why you can look at charts and see patterns and say, okay, machine do this when this set of conditions happen. So if you learn to read the charts, you can kind of forecast what's coming next. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of set this conversation up to suggest that yes, silver spot price is dollar driven. Yes, silver spot price is manipulated. And yes, the gold to silver ratio is significantly out of whack. And if you are a believer that silver and gold are sound money, as I am, then this poses a very good opportunity for people who like to stack metals, as I do. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a dude on YouTube who likes to talk about shiny things. So hopefully this is helpful information. But let me take you a look over here at the silver spot price, and let me see if we can't maybe unpack what happened today. Okay. Actually, this is the last couple of weeks, because there's been a lot of conversations about, oh, spot price is going down. We're in a funnel, okay? And if you've been following my channel in the past, you know that when we get into a funnel, you draw a top line against the top marks, a bottom line the bottom marks, and typically the trades happen within that range. And so you can just update your lines as things go up and down, and that just kind of helps you kind of get a better visual of the funnel. You can actually see sometimes we have micro funnels, and if we pan back out, zoom back out here a little bit. Let's see, do 1 year, 5 year, too far. Hold, please. There we go. So that is the micro funnel we are currently in, and here's the macro funnel that we've been in since 2020. Yeah, that was a little outlier. Just kind of disregarded that one, but you can see, generally speaking, this has been, the activity has stayed very consistent within here. The 200-day moving average, which is that white line, flows, pick your word, goes right in between that funnel. And so you can see here, if we go into the micro, back in here, we're basically dealing with the same thing. So that's what I wanted to basically kind of start this conversation off with, is that we have this, we're in this funnel now. So we've got a new funnel that we're basically tracking, and we're below the 200 moving average, the 200-day moving average. So over 200 days, this is the average price, and you can see now it's starting to tick on the downward. When the stock price, when the candles closed kind of like right below the 200-day moving average, it had, in this one instance, it had like just a little bit of time to challenge this, and it didn't quite do what it was supposed to. So the computers, the stock market said sell, 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 and boom, it went down. And you can almost count on it. Every single time it goes below the 200-day moving average, if it can't bounce right back up to where it was, or find some stability, down it goes. And so anytime you're kind of hovering around the 200-day moving average line, watch out. That's definitely a clear indicator that spot price is going to be coming down. And I'm not saying this from a trading standpoint. I'm telling you this from when is a good time to buy silver? When is it a good time to buy gold? And these same principles apply here as they do in gold. So just know that what I'm telling you, you can apply elsewhere. So here it is. It dropped beneath the 200-day moving average. Down it goes. And then it starts doing its little bouncing and playing around. It's still below the 200-day moving average. And you can see it came up here, almost tested it, and then immediately rejected and came back down. And because of that, it just didn't have the strength, and so it just continues to go down. And how do I know that? There's this little indicator called the relative strength index. Okay? And anytime it goes high, it gets in the overbought territory. Anytime it goes low, it gets into the oversold territory. And this is how computers, I guess you could say, can indicate or to track whether or not it's a good opportunity to invest in more or to sell off. And you can see here, right here, it was saying that this was in maybe the potentially oversold category, and there was like some dips here, some little, maybe that scared the computer system, so they decided to sell. And they decided to sell again. Well, now it got here, it's in the extremely oversold territory, so naturally the buying begins to pick back up, pick back up, pick back up. And what happens here, we're now back in the oversold, now we're down in the undersold. So we're down on the low side, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it come back up, but we're still under the 200-day moving average. So what I'm going to say is that be watching for this to kind of get up towards the 200-day moving average. If it breaks the 200-day moving average, silver should be going up, $23-24, spot price. If it hits the 200-day moving average and gets rejected, watch it go down, and it will go down pretty much within the range of this funnel. That's typically how it works. I'm not saying, I'm not telling you anything that's like rocket science or like, this is not, modern stacker's prediction. This is literally just modern stacker reading lines that go up and down. You can learn how to do this too. So yeah, this is your chance. You can learn to do this too. So what I want you to take away from this is that, this particular metal is definitely volatile, is a very volatile metal. And right now, for whatever reason, like I was saying, the gold to silver ratio really shows that this metal has it's very much out of whack. This should be straight line, if not going back down to where it's, 35 ounces of silver per gold or better. I mean, I think the actual ratio was 16-1. I think that's what it was. Maybe, I think that's the official ratio. It may be more like, 18-1, 20-1. Either way, where are we at right now? 89? Yeah, 89. That's high. That's high. And anytime it gets into the 90s or anything above that, silver typically is what people are stacking because it's a good price, good bang for your buck, because it typically goes back lower. And that's becomes a good opportunity for you to exchange some of your silver in and, cash in for gold. I mean, that's typically how a lot of people leverage their silver and gold stack. What I want you to take away from this, though, is that be watching this. And this year may be one of those years where you're going to see a lot of volatility in this market. But if you watched my previous video where we were talking about the Dixie, the dollar index, this is the thing to be watching, because when this thing finally starts to go down, the dollar strength, you're going to start to see this go up. At least that's what should happen. Again, I say what should. I deal with probabilities on this stuff. None of this is a guarantee, but if you're basing the fact that the price of silver is directly correlated to the strength of the Dixie, then by all accounts, this should go up. Will that happen? I have no idea. I do not have a crystal ball to tell you that. Go talk to Johnny Bravo. He'll tell you it's the same thing. So he might be telling you he has more of those things to look at. Anyway, you get my point. Punchline is that this is a really interesting market. Don't let the doom news scare you about silver being a bad thing. Silver has been used as a precious metal that is monetary money that has been accepted. It's accepted in all countries across the world. You take silver to pay for something in silver, you will be able to get a transaction happen successfully. Nobody's going to say, I don't take silver, unless they have no idea what silver is. It's kind of like, somebody is saying, I won't take gold because I take, Visa. Most people will take the gold. If you tell them what silver is, most people in those countries will tell you, like, yeah, we'll take silver too. You're just going to take a lot more of it. That's the whole point. So I'll get off my soapbox here and end this video, but a lot was covered. Hopefully, though, again, take this all with a grain of salt, but just take this with a little bit of sense of these markets are manipulated. Don't panic. Just look at the charts. The charts will give you comfort. All right. You'll know kind of what's coming. You'll know what to expect. And then when you see the spot price jump up or when you see the spot price drop down, you won't have anything to worry about. Okay. Like I said, leave a like at the end of this video. If you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, because a lot of you haven't, hit that subscribe button. I do drop content every once in a while. I am not a consistent dropper. So just, full transparency. I drop when I can, when I have time. If you made this far, thank you so much for watching this video. And until next time, keep on stacking.